Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana weather. It is Thursday, May the 29th, 2014, about 8:50 p.m. here Eastern Time, and there's a lot to talk about tonight in this latest edition of Beyond the Weather. We got a chance of some severe weather potentially again next week. Talk about that tonight, and out of the next 16 days, 14 of those days have rain chances. That's another thing we'll talk about tonight. We got a lot of things that we can cover tonight too, but we'll get to it all diving in here in just a second. This video update tonight is sponsored by Metal Magic in Washington. Give Chad a call at 698-8555 for all of your paintless dent repair needs. And of course, tell them Southern Indiana Weather sent you. Remember, they have that traveling hail team as well, folks. So they do a fantastic job. You can see some of those pictures before and after. They're located across from the Radio Shack there in Washington. Give them a call. You may need them next week, potentially. All right, here's current satellite and radar in motion along with temperatures overlaid. And you can see not a whole lot going down in our area. If we zoom this out and I'll take the temperature data off, you can see this pesky, stubborn low pressure that's just sitting and spinning down here in virtually the same location that it's been for about 4 days now. Eventually, this is going to retrograde back to the west. And by the way, retrograde is a meteorological term. It basically means it goes the opposite direction than normal. So normally you see low pressure systems sort of go across the nation in this way. It means it's actually going to be going back this way, and it'll eventually go back to the west over Texas, sort of dissipate out finally. But then rain chances come again next week, which we'll talk about here in just a second. All right, let me put the brakes on that. Let me go into here, and first off, let's talk about temperatures tonight. We have a lot of stuff that we want to talk about tonight, but I want to dive right in. The first thing, temperature-wise, man, oh man, is it ever going to be warm. Take a look at your 16-day temperature spread from the GFS ensembles. We've got 90s in the forecast again, and this is a lot hotter than normal. By the way, 81 degrees is our average high temperature this time of the year. So what a pattern shift compared to where we were this time, a month or two ago, where we were kind of in that up and down phase. We've been kind of in a normal to even above normal pattern now for the past couple of weeks, and no end in sight to that. It looks like we're going into a well above normal pattern, at least for a time. You can see here on Sunday and even into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday next week, the ensembles are predicting 90-degree temperatures, and with several days here very close to it as well. So plenty of warm on the way, and of course with the humidity, with all of the rain chances as well, brings the humidity. So the sweat-o-meter is going to be on. The mugginess is going to be around all next week. Let's start off with some future radar here, and let's talk about tomorrow. The good news is you see this low pressure spinning down to the south, but here we go by the time the overnight hours, and here's by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning Eastern time, and you see we're pretty much free and clear and really isolated chances at best here. Here we are by the time the evening rolls around, and really we don't have much of anything to speak of in the way of things with this going around. So if you got plans on Friday evening, they look pretty good right now. It looks like it'll be a warm evening, but it does look dry at this point. That's certainly good. Du Bois County Bombers have their opening game on Friday evening, and I know there's all kinds of other things that go on Friday evenings around our communities as well. So if you have plans, it looks like a pretty good shot at being dry for there. Just some rain potentially down into the Kentucky during the overnight hours, but that shouldn't affect us. Saturday looks like pretty well rain-free for us until potentially maybe the overnight hours with just some spotty stuff around. So nothing to worry about for us on Saturday. All right, let's talk about that rain that we've got coming our way, and then we'll get to the potential for some severe weather next week as well. Again, anytime you have warm temperatures like this and with a little bit of wind energy in there, you throw that, and that's exactly what we're going to see. Let me put this into motion for you. Here we are where we're at basically right now here on late Thursday evening into Friday. And here we go. There's that rain chance into Friday. You can see it's very isolated. Here we are in Indiana right here. GFS wants to be a little more aggressive with the rain chance than what the high-res NAM does, but the GFS has been more aggressive with those chances today as well, and we saw very little rain around here today. I think tomorrow is going to be a situation very similar to that, only it should start to dry up during the afternoon hours even more than we saw today. That's all gone. Saturday looks like a beautiful day, clear around here. We've got some rain out to our west, and that'll eventually move our way once again as another cold front and system starts to advance. Here we go into Sunday morning. Looks pretty good, but here we are by 2 o'clock, 18Z, so that would be 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Hard to the switch to daylight time, even as long as it's been, still gets me sometimes. But by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you start to see those rain chances increase on Sunday, and there you go into Sunday night. Yes, here's Monday. Oh, there's more rain chances on Monday. Here's Tuesday. Yeah, you guessed it, more rain chances on Tuesday. And then finally, by the time Wednesday comes around, yeah, you guessed it, more rain chances on Wednesday as well. But I want you to notice the setup of what you've got going on here. Because Wednesday's going to be the day in particular that we want to watch. Look what you've got going on here. You've got a fairly, I don't want to say it's a deep low pressure, but it's a moderately strong low pressure out to our west. Notice it's starting to take on kind of a negative tilt, which is always a flag that we look for the potential of severe weather. You got a front moving through here, just like this. It might be better if I just illustrate this for you. All right, here's what you got going on. Let me change this to blue. You got a cold front coming down like this. You get another cold front that's extending up into here to another low pressure up here. All right, and so the frontal boundary is going to be right over into our area on Wednesday. So we want to take a look then on Wednesday and look at the upper level dynamics and see if there's anything in play. All right, remember, for severe weather, essentially you need three ingredients. You got to have a lifting mechanism to start the storms off. You need to have good upper level wind energy, and you got to have instability in the atmosphere. Get all three of those things together, you have a chance at severe weather. If one of them is out of sync, and then the whole system falls apart. Let me show you this. Here's what the fronts and pressures will take a look like. This is from the Weather Prediction Center, National Weather Service. This illustrates, it's a little bit different than what the map is. This is a consensus of different models. But it gives you the idea. There's that low pressure that I connected it to. There's a cold front in our region, developing low pressure out to our west. And of course, this sits and spins in our area. By the time the next morning rolls around, by Thursday morning, you see it's still here. All right, keep that in mind. Let's go back down to here. Here's that front out to our west. Here's the surface map. Let me go to the 500 millibar level. This is winds at about 18,000 feet up into the atmosphere. And take a look at that. Here we are in Indiana. Southern Indiana is, I'll tell you what, let me do this again. Change it to red so that you can actually see it. Southern Indiana is right about here. And notice that where we are at in this is in that zone for decent winds. Got some 60 and even 70 knot winds right out here in Illinois. That eventually moves our way during the daytime, but you've certainly got enough wind energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere to support the potential for severe weather. It looks like you've got about 40, 35, 40, even 50 knots at times of bulk of wind energy up there. Another thing that we'll take a look at is bulk shear, which bulk shear is just the change in wind speed as you go from the surface up to that 500 millibar level. And you can see the change in the wind speed is certainly more than that. You've got 40 to even 45, 50, even some 70 knot bulk shears values up here north of Indianapolis. So bulk shears looking pretty good. So I'll concede this. Wind energy on Wednesday looks like it will definitely be there for severe weather. Well, we already know that we have a lifting mechanism in place in the form of the cold front, so I believe storms will fire out of that. What about instability? Well, we can take a look at a parameter called CAPE, convective available potential energy. We've looked at this before, and here you go. There's your CAPE, and anything in the yellows are over 2,000 units, joules per kilogram if you want to be specific. Go into the reds and you're over 3,000. Whenever you get into these high amounts of CAPE like that, that's certainly supportive of severe weather during the summertime, like what we're seeing right now. So, you've got a large amount of wind energy. Well, not a large amount of wind energy, but you've got a decent amount of wind energy. I want 35 to 40 units of bulk shear or better to have organized severe weather supported. We certainly meet that criteria and then some by just a little bit. So it's in the moderate category as far as winds go. All right, we've got a decent amount of CAPE too. It's not off the charts like we have seen in the past. But also bear in mind that we are several days out for one. And for two, the GFS is usually conservative on the amount of CAPE. It's the NAM that usually wants to way overestimate the amount of CAPE. Oftentimes the GFS underestimates the amount of CAPE there. If this is underestimating the amount of CAPE, then we will have way more than enough energy for severe weather. If that's the case, what type could we expect out of this? Large CAPE like that, wind energy like that, we can expect potentially some large hail out of that. That's one thing that we could see out of this. Take a look for the potential of tornadoes. Another thing that we could take a look at is the crossover. Crossovers change in wind directions as you go up. And what you can see here is actually over the state of Indiana out to our west, yes, there is a decent little change from really more from the south to the west. But here over portions of our area, not quite as much. So the tornado threat would look a little bit lower with this. This would look more like a damaging wind and large hail setup to me at this point. But keep in mind, this is Wednesday of next week. This is Thursday. We're 6 days away from this event. So most certainly we will say this, lots can most certainly change over that time. So we've looked at the bulk shear, we've looked over that, and basically what you can see out of all this is we've got a decent amount of parameters for severe weather. The only thing that's really lacking here is the presence of a low-level jet, and you can see the GFS doesn't really have that strong of a low-level jet, only inching in on about 25 knots over here. Oftentimes the GFS does underestimate that as well, so really it'd be nicer to have, excuse me, nicer to have a little bit more of a low-level jet action here, but you don't necessarily have to have it for severe weather. It enhances it. So certainly it's something that we are going to watch for the presence of severe weather. It is not a guarantee, but that is next Wednesday. Mark that in your time frame, and we will see how that evolves over time. Let's go back to here and keep in motion, because we said, by the way, we've got storm chances beginning on Sunday, into Monday, into Tuesday. Now we're into Wednesday. Let's put this into motion here and look at this. Oh, by golly, there's Thursday afternoon, and there is, yeah, more rain chances around the area. And we go into Friday. What's Friday taking a look like? Hey, Friday might actually be decently clear as high pressure starts to build in and keep us down here. You see, Friday might look somewhat clear for those chances. But then again, by the time Saturday comes in, there's more rain coming in by Sunday as well. And then here is Monday of next week, late into Monday night into Tuesday. Not of next week, but excuse me, of the week after. There's some potentially heavy rain with that. And you get the idea. My goodness, we get another dry day here before we go back into a rainy pattern again. This is exactly what I meant, folks. Whenever I say out of the 16 days that's represented in this model, only 14 of them, only 2 of them are dry. 14 of them have rain chances associated with it. So it's a very wet pattern coming up for us. All right, let's go to southernindianaweather.com and let's take a look at your updated ULR and Sons 7-day forecast. Went down to the mid-60s. Isolated showers tonight, very muggy, kind of variable cloudiness. All right, partly cloudy at times, mostly cloudy at times. Not a whole lot to write home down, just muggy. Tomorrow, again, that rain should come to an end during the afternoon hours. Again, I think evening plans, even if there is a little bit of rain, it would be isolated at best, but I'm skeptical of seeing anything after maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Looks like it's going to dry out. We'll keep our fingers crossed and hope it's that way. Then on Saturday, mostly sunny skies. That's going to be a beautiful day. If you've got plans and things you want to do this weekend, folks, Saturday is your day to get it done. Temperatures in the mid-80s. Then on Sunday, take a look at this. Partly cloudy, scattered showers and thunderstorms. The high temperature looks like it may reach 90 or at least flirt with it on Sunday. Ooh, 40% chance of rain coming in. And then there is your upper 80s and even some 90s throughout the rest of the extended outlook with those daily 50% chances of rain. So that's the way things stand right now, folks. And, it's going to be one of those things. I guess we'll take the rain while we can get it because eventually we'll pay for it and go into more of a dry spell. We always do. That's just the way these things tend to work. And if we believe what the El Nino forecast is going to say, I'll close with this tonight. I've showed you this time or two in the past. We are still predicted. Here we are right here in the beginning, end of May, beginning of June. And you can see from about July onward, that's whenever the models really start to spike this out. The dashed black line here is the mean. These are all different ensemble members of the forecast model showing where the El Nino, how strong it's going to be. Anything over zero point 0.5 is considered an El Nino if it's for 3 months at a time. We've been almost 2 months of that now. By the end of July, it will officially become an El Nino. It's almost certain to happen at this point, and look how it strengthens up to even a 1.5 anomaly here. And by the way, that would flirt, if that's the case, with the El Nino of 1997, where we got, I think, to 1.7, if I remember right, on its highest strength. So if I remember right, don't hold me to that. That's just memory. But if that's the case, you remember the 97 El Nino. That was a year of extremes, and we had devastating mudslides in California, lots of severe weather and heavy flooding going on in the south, and it was just extremes all over the place. You get almost no winter. We were 10 degrees above normal for our average temperature in the wintertime that year. So lots of changes could be taking place if this holds out. What kind of an effect will it have on our summer? Probably not a whole lot on our summer, more into this fall and winter and then beyond if it continues to hold out. But the way it looks right now, it's holding out to a pretty strong El Nino, even all the way into 2015 from the way this looks. So that certainly is going to put a wrench in our pattern. All right. More on that to come over coming months as things develop and things start to get a little clearer, but that's a little bit more of what to expect over the time. All right, that's it for this edition of Beyond the Weather, folks. Hope you have enjoyed this update. We will see you next time for Southern Indiana Weather. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. Have a great day.